Never run out of battery again with the INIU portable charger, the slimmest 10,000 milliamp hour power bank that keeps your devices charged on the go. Stay powered up wherever you go. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
The Morning Midas, a Chinese-owned container ship, has been on fire off the coast of Alaska for several days after a massive electrical fire engulfed it earlier in the week. This incident highlights once again the challenges and dangers of transporting electric vehicles by sea. The Morning Midas was carrying over 3,000 vehicles, including 70 full electric vehicles and 681 hybrids, from Yantai, China to Lázaro Cárdenas, Mexico. The ship's fire suppression systems were unable to contain the blaze, forcing the crew to abandon ship via lifeboat with no injuries reported. Now, let's dive into what makes these EV fires so difficult to put out. You see, when an electric vehicle battery reaches its thermal runaway point, it becomes a self-sustaining fire that's incredibly hard to extinguish. In fact, experiments show that even the peak heat release rate from an ICEV or EV can be reached within 6–10 minutes of the initial fire. If firefighters don't act quickly, they risk having to use massive amounts of water. We're talking tens of thousands of gallons, just to try and contain the blaze. But here's the thing, even with all that water, it's still not enough to put out the fire. You see, when an EV battery is in thermal runaway, it's essentially confined within a steel case with its own oxygen source, making it incredibly difficult for firefighters to access the actual fire itself. In fact, specialized piercing nozzles are needed to reach the battery and flood it with water hundreds of gallons at a time. However, these nozzles are expensive, so most fire departments don't have them in their arsenal. So what's the takeaway from this incident? Well, it's clear that transporting electric vehicles by sea comes with its own set of unique challenges and dangers. And when it comes to fighting EV fires at sea, it's not just a matter of activating the onboard fire suppression system. It requires specialized equipment and training to deal with these highly flammable batteries. But despite all this, the crew of the Morning Midas was able to evacuate safely, thanks in large part to modern communication technology that allowed them to stay in touch with rescue teams. And as we continue to push forward with EV adoption, it's essential that we prioritize developing effective strategies for dealing with these types of emergencies. That's all for today's episode of ElectroDrive News. I'm your host,